We will now recreate in real time an in-the-field experience where you will need to go from carrying mode to shooting mode. I didn't adjust the controls or anything. Hey y'all, Lawrence here at Peak Design headquarters in San Francisco, and today we're going to talk about clutch. Clutch is our quick connecting, quick adjusting hand strap for DSLRs and full frame cameras. Like other Peak Design straps, clutch uses anchor links, and that facilitates that quick attach and detaching feature. These little anchors are rated to hold over 200 pounds of gear, which no one has that. Clutch also comes with our standard plate, and that lets you use it with our capture or travel tripod right out of the box. Whether you use it on its own or with our other straps, clutch gives you incredible confidence and security when you're holding your camera. The pad is made out of Hypalon with a microfiber backing. You can see Art has laser etched this pattern into it, which provides a little bit more texture for grip. Then the strap is from the same high quality webbing as our other camera straps. And then the centerpiece of the whole design is this really beautiful anodized aluminum adjuster. The functionality and looks of clutch were inspired by high-end climbing gear. All right, let's talk installation. The first step of installation is putting the standard plate on the bottom of your camera. I'm gonna start out just showing you guys how clutch works on my 5D Mark IV. So take your standard plate and just screw it in. All right, the next step is to install one of the anchors onto the standard plate. You're gonna wanna install your anchor on the grip side of the camera, and then I'm gonna recommend the back eyelet on your standard plate. By using that back eyelet, you maintain compatibility with our capture clip and with tripods. All right, so feed the anchor through, and then do a little cow hitch maneuver through the loop and pull. There you go. All right, you might notice that you still got another anchor that came in the box. You don't need this to use clutch. You can either put it on another eyelet of your camera, on another camera, or just have an extra in case you misplace your anchor. All right, so while we're on the bottom of the camera, I'm gonna take clutch and attach the anchor to the anchor housing. So you just line them up and give it a little tug and it clicks into place. Now up at the adjustment hardware, you're gonna see there's a little spring-loaded gate. Open that up with your fingernail and take the Hypalon out so that it's detached. And when installing clutch, I also like to really loosen up the adjuster. So just lift up on the hardware and pull it out towards the end. And then you can move the pad and you've got a lot of slack. So now, flip your camera, and let's talk eyelets for a second. Cameras have different shaped eyelets. This Canon, for instance, has these big Canon eyelets, and I can install my clutch directly into them. Now, on most other eyelets, you're gonna wanna use the triangle ring that came with the camera and install clutch into that. Kind of like we're doing on this Nikon right here. If you've misplaced those triangle rings, ask your local camera store or just get on the internet, and they're pretty easy to find on the cheap. All right, so I'm gonna install the Hypalon into this Canon. You gotta pinch it and then massage it a little bit. Then when I've got the tail end of the Hypalon coming through the eyelet, I'll open that spring gate again on the aluminum adjuster and feed it through. All right, so we're essentially installed now. It's still pretty loose. You can just give it a tighten and it looks a little bit cleaner now just sitting there on your camera. Congratulations, the most important step is done. Your camera looks cooler. What's also great is that if you want to take clutch off the camera, you can do it in seconds. Just reverse the steps. Undo the spring, pull it out from your eyelet, and then undo the anchor. Put it in your pocket or in the bag and get it back out when you need it. All right, let's talk about using clutch. So a good way to think about using clutch is that there's two modes, shooting mode and carrying mode. Shooting mode means that clutch is loose. There's not much of a tail up at the top. Your hand has a lot of room to move around and you can access all the controls. Easily get up, fiddle with the back dials, fiddle with the top dials, and take my shot. Now when I'm ready to carry, I reach over with my left hand, pull down on the tail, cinch it down by pulling it towards the bottom of my hand. And now, it's secure in my hand if I'm walking around. So one typical use case would be that you're walking around, clutch is secure, you see the shot you want to take, you bring it up, reach over with your left hand, loosen it, fiddle with your controls, dial in your aperture, go for the shot. What a beauty. All right, real time. I see my shot, loosen, fiddle, shoot. Loosen, fiddle, shoot. Just, if you remember those, you'll pull it off. Loosen, fiddle, shoot. Loosen, fiddle, shoot. Loosen, fiddle, shoot. tighten. Loosen, fiddle, shoot, tighten. Loosen, fiddle, shoot, tighten. Nice. Clutch works in all sorts of shooting conditions with all sorts of cameras. One thing that's great about the microfiber is that if it's hot outside, it doesn't absorb sweat and get all sticky, so that's a plus. If you're taking your camera off of our capture clip or a tripod, the clutch is nice because it gives you added confidence and security when you're grabbing it from those positions. I'll show you that in a minute. So everyone has slightly different preferences on how they like to use clutch, and that's going to be kind of dependent on the camera and your hand size. On this 5D with my hands, I've got the pad just sort of behind my knuckles, and that gives me the nice sort of balance of comfort and security. Some people prefer to not adjust clutch too much when they're out shooting, and so they keep it at sort of a medium tightness all the time. All right, so here's clutch on a full frame 5D. Let's check it out on a full frame with a battery grip. All right, so here's clutch on this old Nikon, our office Nikon. You can see that with clutch on here, I've got added stability and security, which is especially nice on a heavier camera like this one. I can still tighten down and then loosen as needed to access controls. So clutch gives you a lot of stability and security when you're shooting with a big camera with the grip on the bottom. This particular grip does not have eyelets for a strap, so we're using the standard plate like we did on the 5D and attaching the anchor to that. Now, if this grip had eyelets for a strap, I would actually probably prefer to attach the anchor to those. The reason I would prefer that is if I swapped over to portrait mode, I wouldn't have to grab the standard plate because it wouldn't be on there. That being said, this is not a big deal. It's not too bad if this is the shot I'm trying to get. We sometimes get asked if there's a way to install clutch so that you can use it specifically for portrait shooting on the camera with a grip. And the answer is no, that's not really the way we designed it to be used. Now, the other big question we get is whether clutch works with the mirrorless and smaller cameras. Let's check that out. So, the big question, does clutch work on mirrorless cameras? Maybe, depends on the camera. If you're shooting on a Sony A7, any of them, the answer is generally yes. And I'll show you that right here on this A7S R2. I find it to be pretty comfortable. You'll notice there's a lot more of a tail because you have to cinch it down to be even tighter. And that's just because the height of the camera is so much less. I got access to the shutter. I've got good security if I'm carrying it around. It works. Now, if your mirrorless camera doesn't have a good size grip, or if the eyelet is too far down, or if the shutter button is in line with the eyelet, up where these dials are, if any of those things are true, clutch is not a good fit for your mirrorless camera. On this Sony, it's got a grip, the shutter is out front, and the eyelet's at a good level. So everything's working in my favor. Let's check it out real quick on this Fuji. So I've got this little Fuji X-T4. Incredible camera. Undoubtedly some of you guys are Fujifilm shooters out there. Unfortunately, it's not a good fit for clutch. The main problem is that it doesn't have a grip. So unfortunately on this Fuji, the grip's not big enough and the shutter's not far enough ahead. So it's really tough to get your finger over onto the shutter, not super comfortable. I wouldn't recommend it. For more info on compatibility, we got a link to an article on our help site in the description of this video. If you happen to have one of these mirrorless cameras that doesn't work with our clutch, but you really want that functionality, no promises, but our design team is always listening, and be sure you're signed up to our newsletter updates, and that way you'll be the first to know when new products come out. Clutch also works with some L brackets. We've got a 3-legged thing L bracket on the bottom of the 5D. It's got a little eyelet over on my grip side, so I just installed the anchor over there, and clutch works great. All right, so let's talk about compatibility with the rest of the Peak Design ecosystem. First, let's talk about other straps. I've got Leash here. Leash is one of our 3 full-size camera straps, the other 2 being Slide and Slide Lite. All 3 straps work great with clutch. On the 5D, I've got another anchor on my plate and one on the opposite eyelet now. All right, so now I've got all the benefits and features of our full-length straps, like Leash or Slide and Slide Lite, and I have the added stability of clutch. If you haven't watched our videos about our full-length straps, you should check those out. They're awesome for carrying your camera. Secure at the small of my back, no jostling around, and I can grab it with the clutch and come up to shooting position super easy. So another common question we get is, what's the difference between cuff and clutch? Cuff is designed to give you low profile security. It's a wrist strap that goes around your wrist. Clutch is a hand strap that's designed to give you peace of mind, some security, and stability when you're shooting. Can you use them at the same time? Let's find out. Wow. I've never seen this in the wild, but it is possible. This is what my dad, Larry Lander, would call belts and suspenders. Oh! Wow! Well, Joe, don't, man, you scared me. Hey, Joe, real scary there, guy. So if you're shooting and something startles you, you'll be all right. And what about compatibility with capture? Our rigid little clip that lets you hold a camera on any belt or backpack strap. Let's check it out. Works. Also works great if you're wearing capture on your belt. Works. And what about on the Peak Design travel tripod? Works. Now I really like this combo, the clutch with the travel tripod. I find at night when you're getting a shot with your tripod, there's a high likelihood you're on some uneven terrain, you're not feeling super confident about stuff. You can either carry the camera with the clutch and have a little more security, or what I like is carry the entire setup, get that added stability because you've got clutch on, reposition, find your shot, and get back down. Killer combo. Now all these Peak Design camera accessories working together is no accident. Our design team spends a lot of time making sure that the whole ecosystem plays nice together and adds up to a really incredible camera experience that's tailored to the way you shoot. Clutch is a great strap with an awesome combination of security and stability. If you're shooting on a full frame camera or a heavier rig, it can add a lot of relief, especially on those longer shoots. And because it works so well with our other straps and our capture clip and our travel tripod, there's really no excuse not to get one. As always, if you've got any questions, reach out to Jen and the customer service team. Happy shooting. You know what we should do is some sort of ad or video that's just about like, have you ever seen someone's camera and they've got these little red things on it? What are those? Hey, you ever seen these little red discs on cameras and thought, what is that? They're called anchors. They're made by us, Peak Design. These anchors let you attach and detach our camera straps to your camera instantly. Sometimes you want an award-winning camera strap on your camera. Sometimes you don't. What else do we make? We make tripods. More specifically, the most spatially efficient travel tripod on the market. Packs down to the size of a water bottle. We also make backpacks, slings, pouches, and a whole bunch of other bags perfect for camera carry, everyday carry, and travel. We also make this clip that lets you carry any camera on those bags. So the next time you see these things, that's what it means. Happy shooting. And like, make a thing about that.